Right then, mate, I have been looking forward to this. Obviously, I speak to you most days on the phone, pal, but this is a little bit different. I managed to convince you before your fish show final as well, but we'll come on to that. I managed to convince you to come to House 6, Fabled Peg, mate. Got your name on a plaque here to talk about your form this year, mate. Obviously, those people that don't know you, I don't know where they've been hiding, but you're a good mate of mine, Kieran Marsden, obviously, Matrix-backed angler. Mate, I think it's fair to say you're having one hell of a year.
Yeah, I've had a really good year so far this year. Hope it continues, but it's going really well. I've had some really good results up to now, so I'm made up with that.
I think you're having a fantastic year. I think, for me, mate, one of the things that's... People are talking about your form this year, but I think it's just... For me, I think it's... You've always been there. You've always been winning things. For me, it's just that this year, I think you've concentrated more like on your social media side of things, so it's probably made... I don't think your results are any different than what you've been doing for the last couple of years, because you've always been, like, a really competitive, top-rate angler, winning competitions. I think that you've just started to take your social media a little bit more serious, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, this year I've been doing a lot more fishing than work, to be fair. I mean, I am still working, but I've been doing a lot more fishing this year, so I think that helps a lot. And also as well, I do well, but I think this year I've had more better results in like a short space of time, so obviously it's more noticeable to people when you're doing really well in a short space of time.
And what do you put that down to then? Would you say it's the fact that you're fishing more, or do you think it's just a change of mind? What would you say has been the contributing factor to you being obviously on top rate form at the minute?
Yeah, I'd say a big aspect to it is fishing more. Time on the bank's everything. The more time you're on the bank, the more you're in tune with the venues that you go to. Also as well, I just think like the venues that I have been going to and doing well, obviously I've spent time over the years as well going there. I've never always done well at the venues. Like I say this all the time, you have to fail to succeed in fishing. So I go to the places, the festivals, and I've failed. But obviously you come away from it and you try and better yourself on that every time that you go each year. And I just feel like this year, like I say, I've done well in a short space of time, so people are noticing my results. And obviously, I mean, everyone can catch fish, but I'm having a lot of luck with the draws as well. I think you need to draw them good pegs as well at the same time.
Yeah, you've got to draw the good pegs, but you've still got to be able to obviously produce them. My theory about that is that a good angler such as yourself can draw mediocre pegs and still win. An angler like me needs to draw the out-and-out flyer, mate, to stand a chance, and you draw a duff peg. But the good things like the likes of you and Christian and stuff is that you can win off a mediocre peg, whereas a lot of other anglers just simply aren't in the race for that. So.
Yeah, but everybody can be in the race, and it's just about putting the effort in. And if you put the effort in, you get the rewards. I mean, anyone can be as good as anybody. Do you know what I mean? You've just got to put that effort in and try and give it 110% every time you're out on the bank, definitely.
I agree with that, mate. A bit of controversy here, you know what I'm like. That I see a lot of comments, obviously, on the Flyer TV and all the other channels where, like, such as yourself or Andy Bennett, and people are right, yeah, it's easy for full-timers, blah, blah, blah. I take a little bit of a negative view on that myself, because you still had to gamble, if you know what I mean. You still had to say, right, yeah, I'm not going to go to work today, I'm going to do this. And I know you've got a family, and I know a lot of other anglers have got families. I find that negative, like a negative comment when people write that myself, because they shouldn't be writing that, because they're in no different position than you. If they wanted to, they could take that, roll that dice, and because you're not in a better position financially than anybody else, but you've rolled that dice and you thought, do you know what, I want to take my fishing to the next level. So I do think that, obviously, when you've just said putting that time in on the bank, I think you've got to be a bit of a gambler as well, haven't you, if you want to go to that next level?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's true, I have sacrificed a lot for me fishing. I do have a family, I've got 3 children, and obviously when I'm fishing you're not spending time with your children, so I sacrifice that a little bit. I do spend time with my children, I'm not a bad person, but I do put a lot of effort.
It's a selfish sport, isn't it?
It is, yeah, fishing is definitely, yeah. I've been doing this all my life since, like I say, my dad's got me into fishing since I was 5 years of age. I'm 36 years of age now.
Get lost, you're older than that, pal.
I'm not, look at me. I'm in my prime.
No, so your dad got you into fishing. I think the other thing is people just see you as a commercial angler, but I know you used to win at Carmill. Is it Carmill Dam?
It is Carmill Dam. Yeah, I used to do a lot of natural venue fishing. Carmill Dam a lot on the canals, local canal round ours, St Helens Canal and things like that. So I have come from a natural fishing background, and then I went into commercial side of fishing. tried to do both at first. I feel like it's really difficult to do both.
Yeah.
To do well in both, you can do both if you want it, if you're happy to do both. But to do well in both, I think you need to pick. To do well in one, you need to pick one or the other, basically. So I decided I was going to pick the commercial side of it, and yeah, I just keep trying to progress and better myself all the time.
Well, obviously, mate, your record this year speaks for that. But going back to this year, mate, I mean, for me personally, obviously, you've entered one or two on the Flyer TV events, and you've gained a nickname thanks to me.
Hey up, I'm the Guv'nor. Something I don't like.
You love it. I'm telling you now, you love the Guv'nor.
I don't, so I keep saying that, but I've got it now for...
You've got it for another 8 months or something?
Yeah, something like that since I won it, so there'll be a new champion hopefully next year, and I'll get rid of my name.
Been filling those boots though. I mean, just imagine if somebody else wins it that's going to be like called the Guv'nor. It wouldn't be the same. You are the Guv'nor, like personified.
Yeah, well, it's for another 8 months anyway, but in all fairness, I don't like being called the Guv'nor. I'd rather just be called Key. So if you see me, just call me alright Key.
It's the Guv'nor. Just as Charlie Law is lettuce, you are the Guv'nor. But I think, mate, those competitions, obviously I'm biased, but apart from obviously your big finals, those on the Flyer TV festivals are seriously, notoriously hard to win, aren't they?
They are, just because of the standard of angler that go on them. Obviously, they've got more and more prestigious, and they're growing and growing. The on the Flyer TV events, definitely. You can just see by the anglers that go on them. I've been on a few. I've been on the Partridge Lakes one, which I managed to win. I've been on a few more as well, and I've not done well, but I think, like you say, every time you go on them events, there's always class.
Yeah, I'm biased, but they certainly are getting they're getting they're doing exactly what I set out for them to do, which is, for me, I wanted that prestigious event where you can really get where we're attracting superstars and anglers that want to improve themselves.
Yeah, I think what I like about it as well, what you do about it, Gaz, is you get a big check if you win. You get a nice big trophy. Yeah. It looks really good, done it for the sport, and so. It's nice. Like when I won the Guv'nor Festival, then when I won that Partridge Lakes Festival, like inside you're buzzing. You've got a trophy and you've got a nice big check. It's nice, isn't it? You know, so. I like that part of it, medals and things like that. And you've seen my tackle thing now. Yeah, I'm starting to grow a nice little, what they call it, a shrine, is it, or something like that?
Well, mate, it's funny because when I first started to do it, we're going off digressing now, that's what you know what I'm like, but when we first started to do it, I nearly knocked that on the head because I thought I was giving Bagger Bennett the trophies, and I was giving say Jamie Hughes a check. And I thought, I bet they're just pointless with these. But then when I mentioned it to them, like yourself, they were like, no, we love that, because they put it in the tackle rooms. Yeah. They've got Tom Scully, he's framed a couple of times at the festivals. If you go into Tom's house, he's got the glass trophies in his cabinet.
Yeah, I've got them on my desk and things like that at home.
I suppose that's what I didn't appreciate, because I was like, well, it's a nice little novelty at the beginning, but then I think now it's an integral part of the competitions, even though it's not a big amount of money, it's just there forever, isn't it? So, because you can spend the money, but you know that forever you're going to have won the Guv'nor Festival. And
it's like something to treasure for the rest of your life, basically. So it's nice to have that in it as well. So I think that's really good.
So, mate, brings us to Tunnelbarn Farm. We're on house 6 here today, where you were lucky enough to win on the last day. So you are the current Daiwa Pole Champion, which is an absolute, to me, I think that is one of the probably the best competition in match fishing that we face in the UK today. And I think, no matter what anybody tells me, they won't change my mind. The calibre of angler on that, the number of anglers, the small sections, I think that is the hardest competition to win in match fishing. And this year you've won it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I'd put this down as big as winning a Fishermania or a Golden Reel or a Maver Match this, because, like you say, because of the standard of angler.
I think it's harder to win.
It is 100%, because it's over, obviously. At the end of the day, Fishermania is something everybody wants to get the name on. I'm in it this year. I'd love to get my name on that fishing. I'd love to get my name on that trophy. But this, is something else I wanted to get my name on. You've seen the people that's won the Daiwa Pole Fishing Masters, and you know, especially when you're fishing the event, you look round and everywhere you look, there's just class everywhere, and you've got to be on your A game for it. So, for me to win this event was something that I definitely wanted to do, and obviously I've done it now, so I'm absolutely over the moon with it.
Well, mate, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. In regards to that trophy, there are some of the biggest names in match fishing that's forever engraved on that trophy. Obviously, this year was the 10th anniversary, so the biggest the event's ever been, heavily supported by Daiwa, which we'll come on to, because it was phenomenal, the amount of trophies they supplied, the amount of prizes and stuff, the way they supported this event, it's unprecedented. I don't think I've ever seen an event being so heavily backed by a tackle brand, which I'm all for. For me, I don't think there's enough of that in match fishing. So for Daiwa to do that, for me, absolutely blew my mind. And I'm sure as a competitor, it did the same for you. But talking about your event, let me pass over the microphone to you, mate, and talk about it. But what I will say is, there's somebody sitting amongst the two of us that told you that you were going to win this event even before the event started. And I did say that to you, didn't I?
You did, yeah. I think, but obviously, you can't just say someone's going to win an event before.
Well, I was right.
You was right in the end, yeah, but it's much more difficult than that.
I agree, mate. But the way you've been on form, I just thought all the stars aligned for you. But we'll come on. You tell us in your own words. So, day one, talk us through your event and go into as much detail, mate, because these folks want to know.
So for day one, I drew peg 7 on new.
Yeah.
A lovely looking peg. I'm not really well up on new, but my mate Christian's. He knows a little bit about the lake. He's come here a lot more than me doing coaching and stuff like that, and fished a few more opens and stuff. And he said new's a really good 7 on new's a really good peg. So I thought, right then, we'll drive around, we'll have a little look at it. I had a look at it. It does look lovely. A big open water peg on that lake, because there's a lot of narrow pegs on new. It's in a corner, lots of water to fish. So. Yeah, once I seen it, I thought, right, yeah, looks all right. Wind was blowing in, and I thought there's a few fish stopping. I thought, yeah, it's going to be all right. That my plan of attack for the day on that peg was to fish the edge, ground bait and maggot in the edge, bit of ground bait and maggots in the edge, and then that was short, like in my right edge and in my left edge, like top kit and one, and then long down my left hand edge. There was loads of cover, so I planned to fish shallow up and down on that, and then. Obviously 11 metres in the open water, shallow as well, up and down and short on maggots. I could have got across, but it's like 16 metres, and I thought I'm not shipping that. It was a full 16, and I thought if I'm going to win, I'm not going to win fishing on the bottom at that length. So I thought, right, how I've picked a fish, that's how I was going to fish it. Now, when I come to fish, plumb my edge up, me left hand edge for shallow up the edge, I was a bit disappointed when I plumbed it up because it was a little bit too shallow. It was like 2 foot, two and a bit foot.
Was that close in?
No, like 13 metres down my left hand edge where I was planning to fish to the cover shallow. And now, ideally, when you're fishing shallow down the edge, you want to try and get like 3 foot to 3 foot of water to fish in. It's just
a bit of depth.
Yeah, just easier to bring them up off the bottom basically for shallow and things like that. So what I did was, you're allowed to do it here at Tunnel. I went round, I folded the cover down, and it aids more cover for the fish. But the reason why I did it that day was to try and push the cover down, to push me a bit further out into the lake, yeah, gain a little bit more depth. So that's what I did on that, and turns out that was probably one of my best lines to catch my fish from there. So I've done that. I've caught some shallow on that cover. I never caught anything in the edges. They just didn't want to come in right in the edges on ground bait and maggots that day. Caught some short on maggots on the bottom and some shallow on my open water line. My first hour was my best hour in my match, and then after that you probably had to just keep ticking over on all your lines, keep swapping and changing through your lines and through your depths and stuff like that shallow. I managed to win the lake that day, but more importantly win the section. I had 117 pounds, so that was a great start. What I try and do is when I go on festivals, just nice to try and get you off to a good start in your festival. With it being a 3-day festival as well.
It can be a bit demoralising if you have a bad day the first day, can't it?
Yeah, it can, but I mean on the Masters, on the Masters, because there's so much up for grabs, it's not really as bad on the Masters, because even if you blow out on the first day and come last in your section, you still got the biggest weight to fish for the week, which is, what was it, an Daiwa Pro, which is what, 4 or 5 gram pole. Yeah, so there's still always that on the Masters, but ideally on any other festival, or on any festival you go on, you want to try and just get yourself off to that good start, and it puts you in good form for going forward basically. So yeah, I did that. I got off to a really good start for day one.
Who won? I think, was it Rob Swan that won day one?
He did, yeah. Rob's won it on 13 Canal. Won it with 174 pound or something like that. So he won the match on day one. So well done to him. That's a cracking weight that here at Tunnelbound Farm is. So that was a great start for him, and obviously puts him in pole position for winning that biggest weight as well for the pole. So that was good for him. So that was day one. Then day two, I drew back on new again, 31 on new. Another great peg. It was another big open water peg. Believe it or not, we did the group day coaching leading up to it, didn't we? And I coached on 31 new, so that was a bit of a Brucey bonus. That's obviously I had a little bit of a good idea of what. And what the lake was fishing like and stuff like that. So that was a great bonus. But anyway, we'll talk about my match. So on new, I knew I'd fished the same lake yesterday. I knew the edges weren't great; they weren't coming the edges, so I didn't bother putting in the edging on day 2. I've planned to fish maggot short. That was good on day 1, so I fished maggot short, and then I fished casters in the open water, 11 metres again, and then to my right there's like a little point, and it has some cover on it. So I walked all the way around new, went round again, pushed my cover down again just to gain a little bit more depth, and obviously aid a little bit more cover. So I planned to fish shallow on that, shallow at 11 metres, and on the bottom over both of them lines, then short on maggots. That was my plan for the day. Started off short. I had a skimmer and an F1 on maggots, and then I've gone shallow to me that right hand point where there's some cover. I've had a nice little run there. Again, the first hour of my match was my best hour of my match, same as the day before, and then it's just died on me. And literally, I got to like, I've potted about for the next hour or so, struggling, to be honest with you. I think I've got to like £60, and I was going biteless. And then you've got Carl Harvey to me right, so all the lads from me on 31 new all the way to me right, that's my section, so I could see them all in my section. And Carl on the next peg to me was catching really well to the cover, and I kept trying it. It's like I couldn't draw any fish down from him because he was fishing casters shallow across the cover. So now on that 31 new, you've got some like stick-ups to your left long at 16 metres, and I could see them knocking, but I know what it's like with them type of stick-ups. Once you go to them shallow, you lose many rigs. It's really hard to get fish out and stuff like that, but I had nowhere to go, so I've made that gamble. I've got another section out my bag, and I've gone 16 metres to them stick-ups, and it's been great. To be fair, dropped in, I've got one straight away, got it out. It had 10 to 12's red slick on, got it out straight away. I thought, oh, they're coming out, these, that's good. The sun's coming out now as well. So, but yeah, I got that one out, and then I've gone back in and lost my rig, everything. Set another rig up, gone back in, lost that. I thought, oh, do you know what? I can't keep doing this. So I've jumped up off my box, got another short kit out with the 14s to 16s red slicking. Not red slick, sorry, yellow slick, in a short kit. Bit nice beefy elastic in a short kit. Just some heavier gear, and I've gone back out and I've started getting them out. I have lost a couple more, but you have to be dead aggressive with them, and I've got them out in the end. And I'm just made up that I made that decision, change to go to the cover, because I've ended up winning the lake again with £117, and obviously winning the section again. So that put me on 2 points going in after 2 days. So that's like a really, really good position to be in. I thought after day 2 I was third in the festival, joint on points. I think it was with Jimmy Brooks was winning it, Jack Arblaster was second, I was third, all on the same points. There was quite a few of us. I can't remember the other lads who were below me.
Section again, didn't he?
No, he was third in his section. Rob was. He was like he drew a bit of a trickier peg on Canal, Migler Canal. I think it was.
He did, yeah.
Was it 5 or 6 on Canal? He drew somewhere like that. But he never robbed, did no. But there was quite a few people on 2 points basically after 2 days. But I was sitting in third position on weight, so it was a really good position to be in. And obviously, all I was hoping for on the last day of the festival was, well, because I was like £30 behind on weight to Jimmy, who was winning the festival. So I thought, I'm going to need a peg that's capable of catching a nice weight. So look, well, we'll just say that the winner on day 2, before we move on to day 3, it was this peg, what we're on today, that won day 2. Mike Hamilton, is it, who won it? Yeah, he won it. 160 odd pound he had.
He's a phenomenal angler.
He does really well at Tunnelbound Farm, yeah. He won the match on this peg, so well done to him. And then, so we'll move on to the last day now.
Final day. Tell us, because I know the story,
but
tell them the story about the draw.
Yeah, so I seem to have a thing with this peg here at Tunnelbound Farm. I seem to draw it quite a lot, but you know how the lads have the banter and stuff like that about drawing the pegs, and I'm saying I'm going to draw that 6 house again, I'll have that. And I'm literally midway in the queue, so it's not like at first or last. Yeah. There was still a lot of pegs in the bag, do you know what I mean? And I went in, pulled it out, and I looked and it said J14, and I was like, no, I'm on Jenny's 14, like, because it was fishing tough that lake that week, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? And I'm holding it up there, looking at it, going J14, and Sarah's there in the drawer, and she goes, Kieran, turn it round. I mean, what? I said, what do you mean? So I've spun it round, and it said H6. I was like, no way, I've just pulled out house 6. Like,
for me, watching that, mate, and I could see the other anglers' faces when they realised that you'd drawn house 6. I knew what I'd predicted before was going to happen, that you were going to win it, and those anglers, you could see they were all like, Kieran's won. In your head, I mean, be honest, did you think I've won this?
To be honest, I was confident because I know the peg really well, but that day, as it turned out, I'd drawn a really, really tricky section with some really good angles in that section.
You've got Craig Meadows in it, haven't you?
Yeah, so I can name...
He was also on 2 points, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, he was on 2 points. So we had Craig Meadows, he was on peg 2.
Yeah.
We had Danny Keenan, he was on peg 4.
Yeah.
I was on 6. Jack Danby was on 8. Barry Zinnerman was on 29, so I'm in with a spit here, so it goes over to the spit. Yeah. Our section's in with a spit. Barry Zinnerman's on 29, Andy Bennett's on 31, and Paul Brandrick's on 33. Now,
that is a section of death.
It is a section they're all...
Especially with Bagger on that spit over there. I mean, those pegs are obviously very well noted for being really good pegs.
Yeah, good short pegs as well, and Bagger's really good at all that short fishing. He's got it down to a fine art. He's good at maggot short and stuff like that. So... quietly I fancied it, but there was that little bit of in the back of my mind is like it's going to be a tough ask. I'm going to have to be on my A game to make the most of the peg, basically, with the standard of angler that was in my section that day on the last day. So yeah, I had my work cut out as well, definitely. But we'll run you through my match for the last day. So I've drew 6 house, which is what we're sat on today. We're doing a little bit of filming, aren't we? So we thought we'd do this little match chat thing of me masters. So I decided, obviously, because I fished it in the past, I had a good idea of what I was doing. I've got the cover folded down. You're not going to believe this again. I'll tell you this again because you'll laugh. When we did the group coaching, which other peg did a coach on the second day. I sat on here. So 2 of the pegs that I did the group coaching on leading up to it, I'd drawn in the Masters. So a lot of it sort of like lined up for me, didn't it, really, as well? Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It's your year.
Well, a lot of people say that I feel like when someone's in a good run of form and it's all lining up for him, it just seems to go, definitely. Yeah. Everything goes for him. And that week, it definitely went for me. So anyway, we'll talk about me match. I folded the cover down. To be fair, it was already folded down, so I'd folded that down on the group coaches. So that was already done in the right-hand edge. So to fish shallow up and down on that. Now, I knew they'd been catching on mics and expanders to start the match and on this lake through the Masters. So I've plumbed up to fish that in the right hand edge here as well, in a little hole here. That was my plan. And then obviously to fish casters shallow on the left and right hand point. Now this year on the Masters, peg 5 it wasn't in. Like if you remember the year before when Jamie was on it was in. So I could have gone to the left hand point that year because it is in my peg, but the gentleman I am, I just left it alone and fished on the right hand point that first, not this year, the year before, but this year I've got both points to fish to, which I felt like was really important this week because as I'd been fishing, I'd noticed you had to swap and change through your lines. Not one line was solid. You couldn't catch all your fish down one hole. So I was made up that I had like 3 lines I can swap and change through, basically the edge, the right hand point, left hand point. So that was my plan for the match, and obviously I chucked some maggots short as well. I started on mics and expanders in the edge. I had 1. Wasn't great, to be honest with you. I could see Jack Danby, he was catching some in the edge to my right, but I just couldn't catch him. I'd been priming shallow. I think after I generally try and give it like half an hour before I drop in shallow, priming it up, just build some fish into your peg. So I dropped in on the right hand point and it just went instantly. I had a run of fish, you'd catch like 5 or 6, it'd go a little bit tricky on you, drop on the other point, catch 5 or 6. That was just the case, that most of the match, swap and change between both of them points. And then as my match went on, I'd obviously been priming my right hand edge. You could just tell a few fish had drifted in, so I'd catch some shallow in my right hand edge. Did drop short on maggots, had a couple on that just to rest my lines, and again it was just a case of just swapping and changing through them lines and just keep putting fish in my net, and literally that's what I did all match, just kept going under on all my lines, and that was my match. So I finished up with £188 total.
Great weight.
Yeah, it was good weight again. I ended up winning the match. That was the biggest weight of the week as well, so I won my section, more importantly. So that gave me 3 wins, and then a weight, I think I had 400 or something pound. I can't remember exactly, but we had 400 odd pound. Overall in the festival, there was 3 of us on 3 wins. Me, Jimmy Brooks and Jack Arblaster. Yeah, they all won the section every day.
Got to mention Jack as well. Tremendous performance in this field of anglers.
100%, yeah, it's the first time I've seen him on the Masters. So he's done really, really well, because I've been on it a few years, and it does normally take a little while to...
I mean, Jimmy's always been there and thereabouts. I always feel a bit sorry for Jimmy, because he always seems to come second.
Jimmy's quality, and he's
absolutely fantastic.
He's another. I think he's another angler that goes under the radar. 100%. He's quality. Jimmy is.
Mate. And
yeah.
I'm sure that soon he'll get his name on it.
Oh, 100%. He's so close all the time. He just, like I say, it's like I spoke about. When it's going for you, it's going for you, and it'll come to a point where it'll start going for him all the time. That's something we made the previous years. Had a lot of seconds in qualifiers and stuff like that, and then, like I say, when it's going smooth, it goes smooth. You turn your seconds into first. So Jimmy will definitely be one of them anglers that he'll just start winning everything eventually.
So obviously, let's go back to you, mate. And this year at the Pole Masters, the 3 performances were out of this world, and it was great for me to watch you win it, because you're one of my best mates. Absolutely phenomenal. I loved watching it, and I was made up that you won it. Great performances, mate, but we've got to mention, like, Daiwa, it's out of this world, isn't it, what they do? Sponsor you, I mean, so you won an Air Z Pro.
I did, yeah.
For winning the competition.
Yeah.
You won, was it $3,000?
Yeah, well,
Prize, cash, sorry.
I think we got, well, me and Chris split, don't we?
Yeah,
so we got about 4,200 quid had won.
And this year,
in cash.
What normally happens is, it's never happened before. Obviously, there's the Arity Pro that they offer for the biggest weight of the festival, which is again another $5,000. So you won both, but there's the rule that obviously if somebody wins that, it has to be defaulted. And
yeah.
It's the first year this year, and obviously the Arity Pro got defaulted to Rob Swan,
yeah.
So it's the best default prize he'll ever see.
I mean, there's a couple of reasons I'm happy about that as well, is because, for one, I'm sponsored by Matrix, so I get my gear off Matrix. I have to fish with Matrix gear. Now, obviously, the Arity Pro got defaulted to somebody else, so that was. I'm happy with that. You know, I'm glad that the prizes are getting dished out as well. Now, the AZ Pro, I've won that, but with it being the 10th anniversary and it being engraved with the 10th anniversary all over it, I'm going to keep that as basically a trophy. Yeah. It's an expensive trophy, but...
No, well, I think that's fitting, mate, if you can afford to do that, because, say, for example, if somebody bought that, like if I bought that, even if I bought it cheap, you'd see that winner on it, and you haven't actually won it, so it's a personal thing for you, isn't it? It's something that I think 100% you should keep that.
Again, that's something I'm just going to keep forever. Yeah, I'm not. It's never going to see the bank, that pole.
No, I can understand that, mate. And what a great pole, but it's good as well, and it speaks volumes of yourself. That a lot of people, we saw some negative comments online saying that the Arity shouldn't have been defaulted and stuff. And
I mean, to be honest, like I'm all for spreading the prizes out. Me. The more angler that get prizes, the better, really. Like I also ended up winning the mystery pairs with Calf. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Now again, because I'm sponsored by Matrix, I'd won myself a £750 tackle voucher. I give both I give Calf my voucher, so she ended up with a 1,500 quid tackle voucher there for that. It's unbelievable. Yeah. The amount of stuff you can win is just fantastic, isn't it?
It is one of the, like I said, it's one of the toughest competitions to win, but I think it's certainly the best rewarded competition that you can see.
Yeah, I think I just ended up having the perfect festival in the end. It all went my way, but again, we'll go back to the prize. It's awesome, the support from Daiwa, all the money that's involved, but the main thing I'm made up about is just getting my name on that trophy. That's all I was bothered about. Yeah. Everyone wants the name on that trophy. I put 110% into my fishing, so to get my name on that, and like I say, with all the anglers that are on it, it's just, I'm over the moon, to be fair.
I was over the moon for you, and well, I just had no doubts that you were going to do it, mate. But it doesn't stop there, does it? We've got to move on, mate. Got to move on to the week after.
Yeah, it was the same week, to be fair.
Was it the Saturday after the Pole Masters?
Yes, so what was the Masters? What days were the Masters?
Pole Masters was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, and then I come on
Saturday, was it? Or the
Sunday, it was. The Sunday, yeah, the same week. We come
was a Maver match this?
It was a Maver match this qualifier. Me and at Tunnel again. Me and Christian travelled down. I've come down with to Tunnel. All the lakes have been in again because it's big qualifier, the Maver match this. I've drew myself peg 1 on extension, which is the lake over there. Yeah, to be fair, me and Chris had a walk round in the morning extension. We looked at one and thought, looks pretty decent, that one. I never ever thought I'd win the match from there.
No,
I didn't think it'd be a match winning peg, especially with the way that House had been fishing really well. So yeah, I drew 1 on extension. Chris travels with me. He's drew on high pool again on that back straight. He's drawn it for 4 matches in a row now, so he wasn't having a good. It wasn't fishing well high pool, was it? So he wasn't having a good run on the Masters, and it's continued on the match this. But it's on the other side of the complex to 1 extension anyway. So I've dropped Chris off. He's travelling in my van. Dropped him off, got all his tackle out, come back round to the front here, walked up the hill, got all my tackle on my peg, and I'm looking round and thinking, right, where's my stacker? And it wasn't there. And it twigged. I'd been doing some prep at home in the house on the night before. I'd left my stacker at home with all my rigs in, so I didn't have hardly any rigs. I rang Chris because I was going to pinch a few off him, but there was 30 minutes to go and he didn't answer. He must have been busy setting up or something like that. So I looked in me top kit case where you have all your rigs made up. I had 3 shallow rigs from the Masters setup and an edge rig. That was the only deck rig I had, an edge rig, and I thought, do you know what? I have had one fantastic week's fishing. I've won a lot and made up. If it don't go my way, I'll just have a nice day out in the sun. I had a mugging rig as well in my bag, as well. So I started the match. I mugged 2 carp straight away.
Cruising about like you saw them, just mugged them?
Yeah, there was a few. There was like 10 or 15 carp knocking about at the start. They always do, and then you'll catch a couple and then they scatter and you don't see them again. So I've caught 2 the first 10-15 minutes while I've been priming shallow across. Like I said to you before earlier in this conversation, I normally like to try and give it half an hour priming it before I drop on a line, fishing it shallow, but I looked across and I could see it mudding up, and I just thought to myself, that is going to be black that today across there. And literally I've shipped out with a 14-inch shallow rig and it's just gone under straight away, and it's been like that from the rest of the match from start to finish. On that extension there's a lot of stockies, so you get a bite of chuck off everything. You'll catch like 5 or 6 stockies, then a big F1, £1.5 F1, the odd little carp in it, and it's been like that all match. And then it's come the end of the match, I've weighed £188, and it's been enough to win the match again. So
in the Maver match this final?
Yeah, qualified for Maver match this final now. That's the first time I've qualified for Maver, and it's something I've always wanted to go in, get in, because I love Hayfield Lakes. It's on them 2 Adams Lakes. I've fished on them before and they're awesome.
For me, mate, like I said to you before, I've out of all the big 3 finals, that Maver match this is the best run final I've seen.
Oh,
the way
yeah.
Hayfield, the way that Nolly sets that out, the way there's like the Maver team run it. I went last year and it blew me away. Like the professionalism, the organisation of it's fantastic.
That's really good, yeah. But I just think it's the venue itself. Like I remember when I was in Fishermania, I was telling you this last night, wasn't I? When I was having a chat with you, when I was in Fishermania in 2021, just after COVID had finished, and they'd let all the crowds back when I was in Fisher, and it was one unbelievable experience. The amount of people that's there, the buzz round the lakes, it is the perfect final venue. 100%, it's brilliant there.
It's somewhere I've done a great deal of work, mate, but obviously this year we've got the Gaffer of Hayfield competition.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it because I love Nolly. I think she's a character and I think she's absolutely brilliant to work with. And the way she supports match fishing as well, fantastic, mate. Like she really, like people that don't know her, she really wants to get behind these like big competitions and match fishing in general, doesn't she?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and you've seen her. Seen how she looks after her venue. She has it. Prestige. I watch her. She's out on track to cut in the grass every other day. Yeah, yeah.
And what I like about her particularly, she don't take any prisoners, does she, mate?
No.
If you upset Nolly, you better run for the hills. That's what I say.
Yeah, she's a character, but I like her.
I think she's fantastic.
She is, but I just made up to get in that final just because I want to fish on them Adams Lake. I like fishing for carp because we do a lot of F1 fishing.
It's a bit of a bit. I know you like carp fishing.
I do. I love it. Yeah. Don't get where we are around the north. There's not a lot of carp venues, is there? So it's just predominantly F1 fishing. But I do love my carp fishing. So whenever it comes to doing some carp fishing, I absolutely love it. I just like fishing bomb and pellet and slapping a rig shallow for big carp, and it's brilliant.
I just think, mate, that this year what you're achieving is, because we haven't finished yet. The one thing I will say, folks, is I'm sorry if the contrast of the cameras keep on changing. It's just me on my own today, so I can't get up with this fluctuating sunshine, so you'll have to bear with me. I'll try and do my best I can in the edit, but other than that, I can't help it, mate. Look, it's going dark again now.
Yeah, it's in and out the weather today, isn't it?
But mate, so the big one that we've got to talk about, Fishermania. You've qualified for that this year. This is the second time you've been in the final, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I've never been in the final at Westwood Lakes. I've been.
It's going to suit you there, isn't it?
It's more F1 style of fishing, yeah. Obviously, I've got experience on that lake. I've been fishing. I used to fish the festivals there quite a lot.
Tell us about where you qualified.
Yeah, so I qualified on a carp venue. I qualified at the Glebe Fishery.
Fishery, innit?
That was another one.
Where did you draw?
I drew peg 30 on Lake 1, the M peg.
Yeah.
So obviously,
right down by the willow tree, the bottom.
Yeah, well, peg 1 on Lake 1 is renowned to be the peg to draw. But it turns out that day when I drew peg 30 on Lake 1, there was a lot of fish at that end of the lake. I drew peg 30 on Lake 1. Believe it or not, me and Chris went to lanes, and we was late. We turned up with about 5 minutes to go for the draw, and we were last in the queue. And the last 2 pegs in the bag was his peg and my peg. And I've let him go in before me. He's drew out one. It was all right, worked great, and then he's left me that 30 on Lake 1, which is an M peg. And I'll be honest with you,
What did he say about that? Go on, what did he say?
He didn't say anything to me. He never, until he come and had a look and seen muggers everywhere. But no, he's a nice lad, Chris, isn't he? The thing is as well, like.
Well, you're a partner, aren't you? Mario and Luigi, you're a partner.
Yeah, but I knew his quality, like, he'll get more chances, and he has. He's in for sure now. He's qualified at Lindholm, so in the end, it didn't really matter that he didn't draw peg 1 on Lake 1. He's done it on another venue, but that day, turned up to me peg, and it was just one of them, an M peg full of muggers, basically. Just mugged. Been hard graft. It wasn't just easy. Like, you'd have times where they were easy to mug, and then times where you weren't doing anything different, but they were really difficult to mug. So yeah, it was just a mugging match, and then the last 25-30 minutes I just caught £40 in the edge. I weighed 260 odd pounds, 270 pounds, and that was enough to qualify for Fishermania. That was earlier in the year, that.
Yeah, you did it early doors, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. It's always nice to do it early. It gives you a chance then to concentrate on other things then, so I think that's important.
So obviously, mate, it's just around the corner. Not long to go now.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling about it all? And Westwood, your kind of venue, you happy with that?
Yeah, obviously I've never been in a final at Westwood before, but
well, you've been there when Chris won it.
Yeah, so I've fished quite a few festivals on Falcon Lake. I've got some experience on there, and then obviously I've sat behind Christy in the last 2 years that it's been at Westwood. When he won it, I was sat behind him, and then obviously last year when Matty Dawes won it, I sat behind him, and I've seen. The good thing about being sat behind him is I've seen how the venue reacts to a final, for one, with the pressure of the crowd behind it, the cameras, etc., and how it reacts to the weather as well, because both finals, it was completely different weather both times. So I've got a good insight of what I need to do. We're going down, me and Christian, we're going this Sunday for a little practice. There's 5 matches we can book on, we're going to fish them, just try and formulate a plan. And yeah, just go and stick to the game plan, and hopefully we get a good draw and it goes one of our ways. I mean, I'd love to see me or Chris win it. We're best of friends, but to be fair, I'd be made up for whoever wins that final, because they all deserve to be there because they've qualified. It's harder to qualify for that final, I think, than to win the final. So whoever wins it, I'm made up for them. But it would be nice to win it myself.
Definitely, mate. And I know you've said before that the money's not the be-all and end-all, because obviously 50 grand is a life-changing amount of money. But I know, as a friend to you, that you are a competitive angler. You obviously, you talk about you wouldn't mind who won, but I know what you're like, and I know you're an aggressive angler. I think it's going to suit you there, but getting your name on that trophy would mean the world to you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I give 110%. Well, you know what I'm like. I'm a laugher and a joker with the lads, and I like going for something to eat, coffee, having a laugh, and I think you need that in your fishing. But as soon as I'm fishing and they shout that all in, I'm giving 110%. I put a lot into my fishing, and to get my name on that Fishermania trophy would mean everything to me. Like I say, I've been doing fishing all my life, followed Fishermania all my life. It's something that I'd love the chance to win.
Now, I think, mate, you're not on your own. From a personal point of view, obviously you're one of my best mates. I think you're an absolute tremendous human being. But I have never heard anybody say anything bad about Kieran Marsden. Now, listen, they can talk about me because I know I can be a right funny bugger.
They might not say it to us, but they might say it behind our backs.
No,
you never know.
Not about you, mate. I mean, you've got the youth coming through today, like the likes of like Charlie Law and all that stuff. And I know you've been instrumental in helping Charlie and giving him advice. He's rung you when he's needed advice at Furswood. He's a tremendous angler coming through the ranks. And I think that there's a hell of a lot of anglers, mate, that look up to you. And win or lose, you definitely have been inspirational in your fishing, mate, to a lot of people. I've told you flat out, I'm copying everything you do at the minute.
Yeah.
I haven't getting out much fishing, mate. I'm never going to be a Kieran Marsden, but you certainly are. You help people out a lot, mate, and it would be good to see your name on that card.
Yeah, I do help people out. I like seeing people do well. Try and push them on to do well in fishing, because I love the sport. When I'm out with a family and we're going down the road, and I always have a bit of banter with the missus, and I say, like, I'm driving down the road and when you see kids with a fishing tackle, I'm like, well, look at them there going down, get in. It's nice to see in it. Do you know what I mean? I just love it. It's my life. Fishing's part of my life. It always will be part of my life.
No, well, mate, Kieran Marsden, Daiwa Pole Masters Champion this year, the Guv'nor Champion. Let's hope we can make it a Maven match this, and the big one, the Fishermania Champion, mate. Yeah. I wish you all the best of luck, mate, and I'm sure all these people watching at home hope the same for you. So,
cheers.
Good luck, pal.
Thanks a lot.